So this is learning objective 1 of chapter 14. Your book throws out a bunch of terms that you need to know. Liquidity, profitability, solvency. These are, when we're analyzing financial statements, these are 3 characteristics that we're analyzing. Liquidity, your ability to pay your bills as they come due. Your profitability, your ability to make money, or operating success. Solvency is more long-term, your ability to sort of sustain the firm over the long haul. So there's different measures and metrics that you can use to analyze sort of how the firm is doing with each of those criteria. We do what's called comparative analysis. And what are we comparing? We're doing intra-company, which means within the company itself, and this is usually over time with the same company. We do the comparative financial statements, and we put it all in terms of percentages so that we can compare results from one year to the next. You can't do that with just the raw numbers. Inter-company, that's comparing our company with another company in the same industry, and that gives you useful metrics that you can look at when you're analyzing a company. And then there's also industry averages, and this is available online or from a broker. You get the industry averages on how does your company compare with others in the same industry. Okay, learning objective 2 is just sort of introducing the 3 tools we use: horizontal analysis, vertical, and ratio, and we'll get to those. What I really want to talk about here is more about why this is really important for you to learn. And it comes down to pensions versus 401k plans. Your grandparents, maybe, probably not your parents, but your grandparents used to have what were called pensions. And this meant if they worked for a company for a certain number of years, that company would send them a check every month until they died, once they retired. That's a pension. So that's called a defined benefit, okay? And we're not going to get too technical here, but a defined benefit, the benefit is we're going to send you a check every month till you die because you worked for us all those years, and we owe you a pension. And that's part of your compensation. And in a pension, you and the employer would pay into a fund. I actually have a pension working at Mass Bay. And so the employee and the employer pay into a fund. Okay, so they do that every month, or every paycheck, every pay period. And that builds up over time. The fund is managed by professionals, and when you retire, you'll collect a set amount every month from the time you retire until you croak. And you get the same amount no matter what the stock market does, and that's how a pension works. Companies didn't like this because, of course, they were responsible for all of this and bore all the financial risk. So they have sold people the idea of a 401k, where you are in control, okay? You can control your money. You can manage your own money. And isn't that great? You can be in control. But how does a 401k, or, these are what are called defined contribution. And in these cases, you and your employer pay in the same amount each pay period. The only difference is that now you manage the fund, okay? You manage the fund. You're in control. And when you retire, you get all the money that you've built up in that fund. So, if you've got, $1 million built up in your fund, you get that. Okay, I don't know that you have $1 million. Let's pick another number. Let's say you got 500,000 in the fund. Okay, when you retire, that's all yours. You've managed it. The only problem is that this is all you get, and so if that runs out before you happen to croak, well, that's too bad, okay? With the pension, they have to pay you, you know, no matter what happens. But with the 401k, you've got the set amount of funds, and it lasts as long as the funds last, and then that's it. And then you just stop eating and paying the rent. No. Also, with the 401k, you know, the stock market goes up, and then it goes down, and then it goes up, and then it goes down, and it might go up again. If you retire, if you're planning to retire and you're going, oh, my funds are going up, I've got 500,000 here, oh, isn't that great? And then the next month, like the beginning of 2008, it does this, and all of a sudden you've got $300,000. You can't retire. This happened to people, you know, in my age group who were planning to retire in 2008. They're still working because their 401ks all bit the dust, you know. And a lot of them made the mistake of selling off rather than holding, and you know, it's not a happy thing. So with the 401k, you bear all the financial risk. The company does not. So this gets me to why you need to be able to have a fundamental understanding of how to analyze financial statements, because it's a skill that you are going to need to have, because companies are not going to go back to pensions real soon. So that's kind of my spiel for pay attention to this chapter. It's actually something that you really do need to know.